discussion in figuring in mathematics in the realm of the social sciences, we will begin with one of the most fundamental lessons we learned in this field, which highlights the importance of our role as members of the society to exercise our right to vote. As stated in Article 2, Section 1 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, the Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Sovereignty resides in the people, and all government authority emanates from them. It is important to recognize that participating in elections not only satisfy both our right and duty as citizens of a democratic country, but it also reminds us of our inherent power to determine the future of the land by electing the rightful leaders. Our human right to vote is embodied in three instruments, specifically under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 21, Sections 1 to 3, Article 25, Sections A to C of the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, and Article 5, Sections 1 to 2 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. So, this coming 2022 elections, let us all exercise our right to vote. Needless to say, be wise in selecting our next set of leaders. We don't need another bunch of clowns turning the government into a full-blown circus, don't we? Now that we've established the social relevance of voting and elections, let's head on to the mathematics behind the electoral process. It is not just a matter of counting votes correctly, but understanding how we use mathematics to design, analyze, and compare different election methods. Voting theory is a framework that falls under the area of social choice theory. The social choice theory, which is generally the study of collective decision processes and procedures, is pioneered by Nicolas de Condorcet and Jean-Charles de Borda in 18th century. It is not a single theory, but a cluster of models and results concerning the aggregation of individual inputs such as votes, preferences, judgments, and welfare into collective outputs. The prime example of which is elections wherein varied and conflicting choices are consolidated into a single choice of the group that best reflects the desires of each individual. Apart from integration and consolidation, another underlying mathematical concept for the creation of voting systems is that of order. This is drawn from the premise of the order theory in math, which deals with the ways in which objects can be ordered, from simple ordering of integers from smaller to bigger, or ordering of subsets of a set via inclusion, to more complicated relations. In real-life setting, little acts of putting things in order, just like how a teacher records the names of students in alphabetical order, makes everything more systematic and efficient. As mentioned, voting systems best exemplify the idea of setting things in order. By definition, voting system is a way for a group to select one winner from among several candidates. From electing your homeroom officers in high school, to selecting the next chairperson of the student council in your university, to the local and national elections, a particular voting system is always employed. One example of voting system is the ranked or preferential voting system. This is an electoral system that allows people to vote for multiple candidates in order of preference. This means that instead of just choosing who you want to win, you fill out the ballot saying who is your first choice, second choice, or third choice for each position. This type of voting system is commonly used in countries like Ireland, New Zealand, and Australia. One condition that voting systems aim to satisfy is transitivity. This means that relative preferences are not altered by the elimination of one or more candidates. Say, for instance, you are to choose from three distinct candidates, X, Y, and Z. If you prefer candidate X to Y, and you prefer candidate Y to Z, then it must be the case that you are also going to prefer candidate X to Z in an instance where candidate Y is eliminated. Apart from transitivity, another principle that should be met in designing a voting system is what we call fairness conditions or principles. These are desirable conditions that make the elections fair or positive from the point of view of the voters. More of this will be discussed in the succeeding slides later on. From voting systems, we now move to voting methods. Voting method refers to the mathematical process, algorithm, or manner in which individual votes are counted and consolidated to produce a winner. There are four voting methods we are going to focus on: the plurality method, the Borda count method, the pairwise comparison method, and the plurality with elimination method. The plurality method is the simplest and most popular method of voting. Here, a candidate with the most number of votes or most first-place votes wins. In the Philippines, we use the single winner plurality voting, in which each voter votes for one candidate and the candidate with the most votes is elected. Plurality shouldn't be confused with majority voting. Recall that during the 2016 presidential elections, Duterte won by plurality, not majority. Although his 16 million votes ranked the highest among the other presidential candidates, note that there are about 45 million valid votes, which means that out of that 45 million, 25 million didn't vote for him. In more specific terms, the number of people who did not vote for him are greater than those who did. To give an illustrative example, let us look at this table. Suppose A, B, C, and D are candidates for the presidential elections. Based from the tally, candidate A has the most number of first-place votes, which is 14. Hence, candidate A is the winner. However, if you are going to calculate the number of votes who didn't choose A as their first choice, which is 23 of the voters, we will see that candidate A isn't the choice of the majority. This is one of the reasons why plurality isn't always the best method, because it failed to satisfy a basic principle of fairness called the Condorcet criterion. The Condorcet criterion is a basic principle of fairness which suggests that the winner in an election should be the candidate who wins in a one-to-one comparison with any other alternative. This will be further elaborated when we tackle the third type of voting method. The second voting method is the Borda count method. This is a weighted voting method wherein each place on a ballot is assigned points. The Borda count method was designed to avoid some of the problems with the simple plurality method. This method is named after Jean-Charles de Borda, a French statesman, scholar, and contemporary of the Marquis de Condorcet. Going back to our previous example, the idea is pretty simple. Give the candidates points according to their places on each ballot. From the table, we can see that first choice votes are given 4 points, second choice votes are given 3 points, third choice votes are given 2 points, and the last choice is equivalent to 1 point. The points are tallied for each candidate, and the candidate with the highest total points wins. Unlike the result from the plurality method, candidate B with 106 points wins using the Borda count method. The third method is the method of pairwise comparisons. This is a method of comparing candidates to each other in head-to-head match-ups. Each of these one-to-one pairings is called a pairwise comparison. The winner of each head-to-head match-up gets 1 point. The winner of the election is the candidate with the most number of points. Applying the transitivity principle discussed earlier, we can see that if we are going to compare the voter's choice between A and B, 14 prefers A while the rest would prefer B. Hence, B wins, earning a point. The same goes if we compare A and C, and A and D, and so on. Calculating the score, we have 0 for A, 2 points for B, 3 points for C, and 1 point for D. Candidate C with 3 points is therefore the winner. The advantage of this method is that it satisfies the Condorcet criterion, which all the other methods violate. The last type of voting method is the plurality with elimination method. This is a sophisticated version of the plurality method and is carried out in rounds. The method starts by eliminating the candidate with the fewest number of first-place votes, and this process is repeated round by round until a candidate with the majority of first-place votes emerges. Going back to our previous example, we can see from the table that B has the least number of first-place votes, therefore B is eliminated in the first round. This will lead to a reduced table that looks like this. If we combine the identical columns, we can see that candidate C will be eliminated for round 2. Repeating the same process, the last round shows that A has less first-place votes than D, hence candidate D is the winner. Comparing the four methods, we can see that different results are obtained using each method.